move on to the next program, next part of our program, which is going to be our second round table discussion. And for me, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you. We want to say thank you, to all the moderators and our guests and our founders, the board of members who really told us the story of 20 years. And it was just like yesterday. For me, I was thinking of all those years, just like yesterday it started, and now 20 years is today. And it's like a dream that has been dreamt for 20 years, but it's just resumed in one day. And for me, it was just like yesterday, and today we are starting that journey together. And for me, I say thank you, first of all, to inviting all of us to be into this dream and dream together so that we can continue living, creating a world of peace everywhere we are. And that's what I really want to have into like the whole world. Maybe one day we'll find out each other somewhere, and if already somebody has been there, I think that should be. I believe through MPI, that's where we can create this dream to be alive. And here in Congo, we always say like the dream has now, we're like as is being alive. The dream is being alive. So now we are kind of living the 20 years of dream, but it's now being alive, and all of us we are invited to be into this dream. So let me introduce already the. I want to start first with our guests who are going to be part of the second roundtable discussion. And our first guest is Esther Salahi from Indonesia, and she attended the MPI training in the 2021, I think, 2001 and 2002. At the time, there was a staff of World Vision. She was a staff of World Vision, and now she is a freelance peacebuilding consultant. And our second guest is Eddryll Teo from Malaysia, a lecturer in Methodist College in Kuala Lumpur. He is the first Malaysian to be a participant at MPI annual peacebuilding training. He has attended the MPI 2019 training. Our third guest is Manjula Patnaik from India, and she's also an alumna of MPI in 2002, 2006, and also 2009, actually, 2009 and also 2019. She's also one of the 45 alumni who are part of MPI's grassroots peacebuilding mentors training program. And our fourth guest is Shecku Mansaray from Sierra Leone. Also, he's joined MPI in 2011. He's one of the first African alumni at MPI and an adult educator. So for our moderator in this second part of our program, our second roundtable, one is Gabrielle Gabs Aziza Sagaral, and she's one of the people who welcomed me actually in MPI when I first arrived in 2013, and she is a project officer with Forum Civil Peace Service, known more as Forum ZFD, and in the Davao office, an international non-governmental organization working on non-violent conflict transformation in several countries, including the Philippines. She's one of the alumni of MPI's grassroots peacebuilding mentors training program, alumni of the annual training, and now one of the MPI's facilitator. And The second moderator is Abmel Immid. He's one of the alumni who is part of MPI's grassroots Peacebuilding Mentors training program. He was one of the recipients of the Youth Political Leadership Training that was jointly offered by International Alert Philippines and MPI. He is also currently the Assistant Training Program Officer at Ateneo de Zamboanga University in a program called SUPAT. And BAM is has also served as a Secretariat volunteer at MPI 2018. So these are the people who are going to take next in this next maybe hour to bring us and talk us through their experience when they were part of MPI's training in several years. So I want to let Gabs take over, and then I will also be part in the to continue. I'll be back to continue with Moe to complete our 20th anniversary at MPI.
Okay, thank you, Danny, for that introduction and for introducing also our four very special guests, no, and BAM, who will be supporting this process as well. It's really so nice to be here among friends, peers, and mentors, and really this family of peace builders, no, and I know we've heard so much profound things already from our forefathers and foremothers, but I hope you still have some space in you to listen to the insights of our alumni. And to represent them, we have, yeah, Terry, Eddryll, and Manjula, and Shecku, who are from different regions of the world now. So it's really interesting to hear how they are um, since their time at MPI, and what have they learned and applied, and what energizes them also, no, from their experience. So I hope you are all good there. How are you guys? Do you have your coffee, your tea, your snack? I have my coffee here to keep me up.
What?
Yes.
Water.
You have water and tea?
Yes, too.
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, so on to the talk show, no? So imagine yourself, you're at MPI again, you're in the Mergrande Dome or in Brokenshire, and ready to share and to listen to one another. So maybe as a first question, um, I think Terry and Manjula, you were among those who were really attended MPI during the early years, no, 2001, 2002, I think. And you are also some of those who have kept coming back, who always keeps coming back to MPI to join the trainings and to join the different workshops and programs. So for you to what makes you sustain this connection? What is it about MPI that really, pushes you to come back and maybe to be energized or re-inspired? So what is it about MPI?
Okay, thank you so much for this invitation. And it's a very good question. Being here, the oldest, most probably, 2002. I think my journey in peace building began through the initiative of Mennonite Central Committee, which believes in responding to the biblical call to peace, justice, nonviolence in everyday life and service. Well, I did not realize that there was so much depth in the word peace. But when I began exploring myself, that I needed foundational training, and if I wanted to pursue ways of handling difficult situations through peace building, as I was going through some difficult patches and situations in my life that kept haunting me before I attended the training. And so my years with MPI began in the year 2002 when I attended a 3-week of the annual training. And during that time, so I also had another opportunity to join the annual training in 2006. And that did not stop me there. I also had opportunity to be trained under the guidance of Wendy Croker in the facilitation skills that we had organized in our own office in Kolkata. And my journey as a facilitator began after taking those skills, along with my former director, Twyla Miller. She groomed me, really literally groomed me of how I could facilitate peace building trainings and workshops. So today, MCC has recognized me and given me the opportunity to work along with my colleagues, especially Prakash Tankachan, who is my buddy actually for my grassroots peace building training. He has been a real source of inspiration and guide. And in day-to-day activities, we have always worked together in peace building. So today I am recognized by MCC as the Justice and Peace Coordinator, and that's because of my MPI training, because I really took the training seriously and I worked at it. And today I have that sort of opportunity to bring other people, hear about other people who are interested in trainings and recommend their names to MPI. So that connection, keeps coming back and forth with MPI.
Wow, thank you, Manjula. How about you, Terry?
For me, when the first time I went to MPI, it is just because my organization sent me. But then I'm amazed with all the connection, the personal connection actually, more to the all participants. Actually, until up to now, some people are very connected to me still personally. And also, so I learned a lot there in terms of the content about the, I took some classes on the conflict-based identities, religions, or ethnics, yeah. Because I'm from Indonesia, and Indonesia is like rich with all conflict, all kind of conflict-based identities. So it helps a lot in terms of understanding the situation and things that I have to face, confusion that I had. Not that MPI answer everything, but
Right.
the MPI, we are exposed to different kind of methods, different kind of people, diversities. So I found like, oh yeah, okay, I remember this. Maybe this can be modified with this, and then I can find something to go through that kind of difficulties in thinking, or not really solving a conflict, but working on peace program or on peace situation. Those kind of things that I think that. Then why I'm keeping, although it's my last connection with the course is like 2002, 2002. But still I keep like trying to get connection with the MPI as institution. I'm glad that Christine is always calling me also, and I think because, and I also promote the MPI to others, because I think
Right.
yes, this is the things, the good things that I learned about the diversity, about the methods. It is not only my method that really good. No, it is somebody else as well. It works on different situation, so it's very richful. Thanks. By the way, if you see me, like doing
It's
something
okay.
else, it's not like I avoiding you. I'm taking care of my children, and
Oh, yes.
like
Well,
when
yeah, that's our time now, working from home.
yes,
So we have our family with us. And also my mom is cooking, so you might hear some pans and but that's okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's normal.
thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Terry and Manjula. I'm really hearing what I've also heard from the founders and facilitators earlier, no, and what energizes us from MPIs is the rich learning of knowledge and skills, but also um, the people that we meet. And the relationships that we built, and it really will last long, no? For Shecku, it's very interesting. You were here in 2011 in
Yes.
Davao,
Yeah.
and then you came back 8 years after, so 2019. So maybe you can also share to the bigger group, no, how that was, how did you decide to come back? What made you reach out again to MPI and to rekindle that connection?
Yes. Oh, thank you very much. Peace building became part of our development work in Sierra Leone after our 11 years of civil war. And we had the responsibility to integrate peace building into a normal development work that we did before the conflict, and um, we are looking for knowledge how we can strengthen ourselves to carry out our responsibility. That search for knowledge brought me to MPI in 2011. And what I found there that brought me back was the welcoming environment that I enjoyed in 2011. And during that time, I met a lot of organizations and programs that were supporting the conflict victims of the ongoing conflict in Mindanao at that time. So we are privileged to exchange visits with other peace builders in Mindanao, like the founder of one of the founders of MPI, Gabrielle, came to Sierra Leone with 3 other colleagues, 3 other peace builders. And we shared a lot of, we were inspired by their presence, and we shared a lot of issues in common. And that kept me connected with Philippines, Mindanao, Davao, Cotabato, where people had come and joined my colleagues here in Sierra Leone. And so it was impossible not to remain connected because of the relationship that we built through that. Besides our funding organization, EED at that time, now Bread for the World, had a very marvelous colleague, the person of Mali's Ruth. She returned to MPI to serve, and I thought this is a good opportunity for a reunion and rekindle our interest in our peace work. And
Right.
while I was in MPI during 2011, during the 2 sessions, I was a strong advocate for making MPI a place of pilgrimage for peace builders. When I returned to Sierra Leone, I kept reminding my colleagues, there is a place where you can go and strengthen yourself as a peace builder and come back. And I introduced MPI to all my colleagues in other organizations that we call the Civil Peace Service. And so they have been coming. I saw Babu in action the first time, and I came and told my colleagues in arts and culture, I said, come, go to MPI, you find a source of inspiration, the person of Babu and so on. So there has been this connection and keeping in touch through the relationship I built, and knowing that what the methods MPI was using was appropriate for our work as adult educators, learning by sharing, and it resonated very well with our methods that we use in adult education. So these and many more kept me in touch with MPI, other alumni, and so it was easy for me to come back, in spite of the fact that at this
Yes.
the second coming I didn't have funding. use my private resources. I said I will need to go back and strengthen myself. And I can assure you, the last visit really reconnected me with other alumni. I was part of the establishment of the chapter, the alumni chapter in Cotabato, and I always want to come back.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think I can also relate to what you were saying earlier about, when you get back after the training, the first thing that you would really do is to tell everyone about MPI.
Yes, I did.
You're just so full of,
Yes,
inspiration that you just want everyone to go through MPI. Yeah.
yeah.
How about you, Edryll? I think you're the freshest among the group. No, you joined MPI last year,
Yeah.
right?
I
But you're also the first Malaysian to
yes, I
be a
am.
participant. Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
also share about
Sure.
your experience?
I am so fresh that I don't have something as long as all the three of them to share.
It's okay.
Yeah. So what I see in MPI and the experience I gained, right, is the for me as a first timer and a Malaysian, I see the realities of the world through the eyes of my other fellow peace builders. And you always knew the issues of other countries. You've heard about it, be it from India, be it from Philippines, from Syria. But to hear them as a witness is a whole different experience. This is on top of the skills and the tools that MPI was already teaching you. So that was, as a first timer, that was something that was really precious to me. So that I have only one answer if someone asks me what makes me want to sustain the connection, and the word is values. So early on, the first roundtable, right? Some of them were saying they were shocked
Alright.
how MPI is still ongoing. But for someone who's been nurturing MPI, be surprised at all. I've been nurturing, I've been watering the plant, and now the fruit is there. The fruit is the evidence of the root. So I am an evidence of MPI's root. And the question is, what kind of values are we talking about? It's the kind that looks upon a being and says, regardless of whatever skills and talents you bring to the table, MPI says you have value because you exist. And so when I look at the conflict, when I look at racism, at war, and anything that devalues a person, I want to seek justice for that person. And we're not talking about retributive justice, but rather restorative justice. And if you can see, I have my own, oh, well, you can't see, wait, yeah. I have my own kinsuit
Yes, with your background.
Madam Mendang was talking about, and the beauty of
Ah,
that's broken into something that is better. Now that's the value when I enter MPI. Every like-minded person came in with that mindset, and for me that energizes you to help persevere in this fight, in this fallen and broken world. And peace builders are there coming to put in the golden pieces in every spaces that we can. And the fact that I know that I'm not doing it alone, that's why I would like to sustain the connection. Even up to now, Prakash will send me a prayer, a prayer every morning for me to respond to, for me to read. I'm still connected with same.
wow.
So it's just the word I have is a privilege for me to be able to sustain this connection, and that's all I have for me. That across the world, I know that there are people who are in the same, with the same burdens, the same fight, and when I ask for help, they are not obliged, but they help because they know this is something worth fighting for. Yeah, so that's a bit of my sharing.
Beautiful. Thank you, Edryll.
Beautiful,
Thank you,
Adriel.
everyone. Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Can I add?
I'd
Yes.
I'd
Can
like
I just
to
add?
ask Bam to maybe share. You want to add, Shecku?
Yes. Let's
Yes,
add that
go ahead.
MPI can be trusted as a mentor in peace building,
Yes.
because you can always get back to any one of those facilitators and they will get back to you with issues.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank you.
Shecku.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear from Bam. I think he has some news for us.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead, Bam.
thank you, Ate Gabs, for that. I would also like first to remind our friends and family celebrating with us that we are still live on Facebook. So you may also post your comments or reactions or even questions about what our alumni are sharing in this celebration of the 20th founding anniversary of MPI. So for all of you, whether in Zoom or in your Facebook live, you might also want to share with us your most memorable experience at MPI and how were you transformed by this MPI experience. I'm looking forward to read your answer by the end of this part 2 of the roundtable discussion. Back to you, Ate Gabs.
Wow, thank you, Bam. So much energy. I can feel it through the screen. Thank you so much for reminding us about that. Um, okay. Looking back uh, throughout the years, no, and for some of you, maybe it's many years, or for some of you, a year ago. But looking back in your experience at MPI, what do you think was most memorable for you? What can you not forget? Like in those 3 weeks or 2 weeks or week that you were there, what can you never forget? Maybe you can share a story or an anecdote. Um, yeah. And this is to everyone. So who would like to share first? Go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right, I think I go first. I get the nervousness out
Okay.
of my system, and then the rest can carry on. For right? Again, the word I have being of the first Malaysian being supported by United Board, I don't think I can get this kind of chance, kind of thing. So I think the spending the 3 weeks just asking questions and engaging the trainers and hearing their stories will by far my memorable moments. So just making that connection. So the point is the trainings, right? The points within the trainings can technically be searched online. You can read it on yourself. That's one thing. But the dynamics of the students and the trainers, when you're there in the context, makes the whole concept of peace building come alive. That was the memorable part. This is on top of the relationships that you just build upon one another. And how has it transformed me? So the word transform, means like, I become something totally different. I'm not a better me, but maybe something else. Like a caterpillar doesn't want to be a better caterpillar. It becomes less of a caterpillar so that it transforms to a butterfly. And how does that work for me? It's just learning to not take things for granted. And I've been transformed by the tools and the skills, be it in conflict transformation, conflict transformation, with mediation, dialogue, reconciliation. These words, right, allows me to have the lens of being more aware of the telltale signs within conflict. So what has changed ever since I came back from MPI is that the ability. Okay, no, I won't use the word ability. The chance to diffuse the bomb before it was even ever lit, right? Okay, to give you an analogy, it's like this bomber wants to come and start to light a bomb, and I'm just like put my shoulder on the bomb and say, hey, tell me what's your story, and that space, that intentional space, and I think is the word I want to have is bigger than the word safe space, is a redeeming space. Comes back to MPI's value to be able to see everyone as a valued human being, be it whether they are the one that starts the conflict or they are the one trying to pacify the conflict. If I'm able to see that person as a person, then I am able to communicate to them as a person with full of respect and dignity, and to meet them where they're at. And that's how MPI has transformed me. And I know I'm using big words, but that's the reality, and I'm very grateful. So that's my point, and over to the rest.
I think I would like to take from that. Eddryll, thank you. My memorable also is some kind of like, I used to stereotype people. So that would really make, I think you all agree, that too difficult to communicate with one with respect and with dignity, right? So there was the culture night in MPI, I remember, and the Indian representative create what is that, drama, something like that. And then I realized that Indian is not like only people like typically when if I have to think about Indian, then I will think about Manjula. You know, Indian woman will be have like dark skin, long hair, you know, like all those things. But then I realized that there were some Indian people that look like Chinese, look like Japanese even. Then I was like, and I was like, oh, okay, okay. So I was wrong. Wow. So, but it helps. I mean, it helps. Although I come from the very big countries, like Indonesia is like huge, like 17,000 more islands, 700 ethnics. But then I thought that it's only my country like that. that is that is not true. That is not
Yeah.
very not true. So again, that is I remember that very very much because I said like, okay, stop stereotyping now. Try to look people, as Eddryll said,
Mhm.
and people with dignity, and talk to them with respect. Although, yeah, I mean, of course, I talk to everyone there with respect because I mean, because I'm peace builder, right? but then you know there are some kind of change in me, and not only in my knowledge, but in a kind of like realizing something, thinking of, oh wow, this is what I need to kind of like be more aware of, like
Mhm.
um, back in my unconsciously maybe I stereotype people. I then that could be a danger for my way in communicate with them. I think I just stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddryll and Terry.
Yes, please. I came into MPI wearing two hats. I was an adult educator trying to integrate peace work into community development work. At the same time, as a member of the uh, National Interreligious Council of Sierra Leone, and coming to a country where religion was part of an ongoing conflict. So I remember putting this to my tutors in one of my sharing sessions. And I remember saying that the adult education work targeted non-literate adults and out of school youths. It was at MPI that my tutors helped me weave through those three categories of people who were returning to their communities after the war. Because before I left, our greatest difficulty was how do we resettle victims, so-called perpetrators who had suffered, who had done all sorts of things during the war, and now need to come back and coexist as members of the same community, working towards their self-development. It was at MPI that that I learned the various methods through sharing from other participants from different countries in different contexts. And I found some contests very, very similar to ours. And I was able to discern, I was able to clarify how you will deal with conflicts affected people who are seriously aggrieved. Some of them do not want to see the perpetrators in their communities anymore, in spite of the fact that they all were born and bred there. But because of conflict, people had gone. There were these three categories: the armed, the armed factions, members of the armed factions, those who were displaced completely from their communities, and those who stayed but their houses had been burnt. They had spent most of their time, and when peace was declared, they needed to be settled down. How would you present an adult education program in this scenario?
Yes, right.
One thing I remember, my tutors put this as a very good scenario and worked with us. I came with a colleague from Sierra Leone, Mohammed, and worked with us, and we have been able to design a model that we have found very suitable in entering communities that have been affected by conflict, and it still has the perpetrators, the victims, and all the other factions. We wanting them to come together and wave their mind off the effects of the conflict and now focus on development. Remember, our conflict ended in 2022. The war ended, but up to 2011, we are still struggling how with the resettlement and peaceful coexistence, and how to introduce development in these communities. This is one thing I have used and shared with our colleague, the model that was designed out of our sessions at MPI. We took down, and the biggest achievement was that adult education curriculum curriculum developers accepted peace building or peace education as part of the curriculum. And this model from MPI is being used up to now, even when there are skirmishes in different in different parts of the country. This model is used to start dialogue, to start talking to each other, and allowing people to accept themselves, supporting people to accept themselves in spite of what has happened during the conflict. And this has become a real milestone in my career as both somebody working in development and also peace building. But regarding the aspect of the interreligious council, my country is very much religious tolerant, and I found more strength in guarding this valuable asset that we had in the country, because I saw what was happening in the Bangsamoro region, or the communities we visited, where Muslims and Christians were seen as conflict parties. But in my country, it was not. So when I returned home, I really reminded my colleagues that we have a God-given valuable asset in the form of religious tolerance. And so we need to guard that judiciously, so that we remain in peace. Because in my country, if you have two religious people coming together on any issue, it is bound to work. Any conflict, it is bound to work, because these are the two main religions, and they are almost always working together. And those are some of the things I will always remember about MPI, my stay at MPI, and we always want to come back and strengthen that
Okay. Yes,
aspect
yes.
of my work.
Thank you,
Thank
Shecku.
Yes.
Now let's hear from Manjula.
Yeah, there are many,
Yes,
many
she's
memorable
smiling.
experiences I had. And I can recall quite a lot of them, but then for time constraint, I can talk about one. one thing I think Babu may be here, he may not be here. But when I attended one of his class, I was very annoyed with him. I was really angry with him because we had this class where, you know, he told us so nicely, told us to create something, and we took so much of time, effort, everyone, we were all together doing something. And then after the work, after the creativity was done, he just comes and rips it off, you know. And I was so angry with him. I said, why? You have no right to do something like that, because we put our time, energy, everything into that. And it was only later I realized, when I started doing the same
Yes.
workshop for my partners and for others thing, I then realized that how meaningful it is. Like, you know, when you destroy something, how you can come out with a new creativity. And that really spoke, like, you know, till now, whenever I do that activity with my partners, whoever the participants are, you know, it really takes courage to do that, because you may not know what will happen. You know, there was a participant that walked out of our class and said, I'm not going to redo something that you did something, you hurt my feeling. But you know, that made me strong actually, because I was going through a very difficult patch of my life, and the trauma part of my life was like this. I said, how can I make myself a new person and work with it and move on, you know? So for me, the memorable incidents are many. I really want to thank all the faculty members, like I can remember Wendy, John, Florina, Ashok, and there are so many others, like, you know, I have gone to Babu. I also did painting, you know, I did not realize that painting also could be part of peace building. I still have my painting, the first painting that I did on the canvas. And that really speaks out that, you know, these trainings really made us shake ourselves, work on it, and then move on and look at the world in the better way. And that's where I found peace is not the word peace, it is more in depth to that. So I really want to thank all that MPI could make me today what I am in the peace building journey, is because of MPI's background and the guidance and the support that they continued with me. And that's what I really want to thank MPI. Chris, thank you so much for that opportunity that we could come back and forth. And then I don't know how many times I had to connect with you, sending participants each year. And that gives us a lot of that connection to be molded together and be binded together. And so thank you so much for that. I really want to thank everyone, all the faculty members, even my secretariat. I should not forget the MPI secretariat who work in the
Yes.
background.
The volunteers. Right.
They were the one who, yes, they were the one who the backbone of the whole MPI thing. And so I really want to thank them at this point of time also.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Um, Time flies, no? We're now almost at the end of our session. And so I would like to ask all of you, the four of you, to maybe share your words of advice or maybe encouragement also to all peace builders, no, around the world who are also going through this difficult time, no, during the pandemic. What are your words of encouragement maybe, or um, advice or wisdom that you can share?
I think I should say, because most of my trainings, I would tell what I learned from MPI is, in the midst of conflict, you can still find peace. And that is a very strong statement. And I think no matter, we are peace builders, we think, oh, we know everything about peace. But actually, we are not at peace at most of the time. I'm always at conflict with one another at times. But these learnings help us to overcome. And I really thank people who made my life in a better position now. I can address things, I can talk. And I think as peace builders, this is not the end of it. I mean, you can
Yeah.
come into conflict. That's not the end for it. You have to work on it to find. And there will be situations in each person's life and in the situation that you come about. But how you handle it is the best way that you can look at. this whole idea of peace building.
Thank you, Manjula. Shecku,
Um,
Terry,
yeah.
Eddryll has already said he'll go last.
Um, I think like peace building needs people who work with joy and kindness.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
so many of you, I'm sure, just like so many of you. But maybe I reflect a lot about being a peace builder because at the moment I only work a very, very small part of the peace program or something, only advise sometimes as a consultant is only like, what, once a week saying something about 1 hour or something, meetings or something like that. And at the moment in my situation, I mostly at home, not only because of COVID, but because of
Mm.
my arrangement in the family. Um, but of course, because of the COVID, more people would do this. But I think my reflection is like wherever you are, wherever we are, then accept the call as peace builders. We are peace builders wherever we are.
Mm.
We are called to work, to listen to people, to bring peace with our joy, with our kindness, so that people around us impacted and understands that there is hope because of, I don't know, because of what we say or what we, or maybe just because of our smile, whatever. But I think we are all peace builders wherever we are, whatever situation we are, as because yeah, because we are called as peace builders. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Shecku?
Yes. Thank you for this opportunity. I really need to um, express my gratitude for making me part of this forum today. We live in a world as humans where, as community members, there are bound to be conflicts. Conflicts are natural phenomena. And they occur over everything, over ideas, over resources, over everything. And everything is virtually in short supply because of the population growth. So imagine conflicts everywhere without peace builders, without people who will mediate, without people who will initiate
Mm.
dialogue among uh, factions, warring factions or conflicting parties. Imagine a world without people who will advocate for coming back together after the storm, for calming the storm. Besides, peace work, peace building work is a divine call, as stated in the Beatitudes. Blessed are those, are the peacemakers. They will be the children, they will be called children of God.
Yeah.
And whoever becomes a child of God is doing the work of God. And so I will encourage fellow peace builders, people in peace work, people in every sort of development work to make peace building your first port of call. If people are not in peace, you cannot achieve development. And for those who work with volunteers, keep bringing more and more volunteers, and you get more new converts into the fold of peace builders. Do not hesitate to work with volunteers who will come. It is the only way, or one major way, you can have new converts into the work of peace building. I encourage peace builders to be open and come, allow others, as many as possible who are willing to join us, to please come in, because that way we can increase our food. conflicts are not ending, and therefore the world needs us. Our communities need us.
Yeah.
All around, we are needed. So do not give up. It's a very a laudable work to do in a community that people always look forward to you, to peace builders to come and calm the storm. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shecku. Eddryll, yeah?
Yeah, the beauty of being able to start last is that I don't have to give advice. I just summarize. No, I'm kidding. Okay. Okay. Thank you all for sharing. I think there is some truth. I get to summarize, but I cannot answer this without first giving a bit of a backdrop of what I do and why I do. So my value system comes as a Christian, and Shecku just has just given the answer. Matthew 5:8. You know.
Right, you found the chapter.
Yeah, and for me, the reality of how God created the world before sin entered the world is something that we are trying to work towards. So that's the backdrop of the advice I am giving. So here comes my advice as a 27-year-old who has not eaten enough salt as the rest of you. I will just 3 points.
All rice.
Simple points. So my first advice is to know what is good and to cling on to it. And when you cling on to what is good, you will naturally hate what is evil. And what is good? It is the peace building. It is the reconciliation. You know that is the better option. You know, compared to fighting and compared to bickering, you know understanding one another is the better thing. And when you put on that lens and you look at the world today, you know this is not what it's supposed to be. So as long as there is strife, there is always work to be done. And that's where Shecku's point, always peace building, right? And peace building is not being a pacifist, it is being active in the storm and proclaiming peace in it. So that's advice number one. Advice number two is for those out there, look out for a mentor who has already gone that journey and learn from them. It would be too arrogant to say that you have the heart and you have the value and you have some knowledge and that's good enough. It's
Right.
whatever stage you're at, there is always someone higher to learn from, yeah, and to admire, to look up to. And point number three, for mentor those younger than you. And you know, it's not just learning, but you are training those under you. And you don't have to say, I'm going to make you a peace builder, young boy. No, you don't need to say that. But of what humanity really brings, the value that, hey, you have value. Hey, I'm gonna do some talking to you. I'm gonna communicate. I'm gonna do some mediation. I want you to transform through this conflict. I don't want you to be afraid of this conflict. And that's what I call sustainable peace builders throughout the generations to come. Yeah. So that's just my three things. You know, just know what is good, learn from someone older, and train the younger ones to create a sustainable peace builder throughout the generations and help them understand humanity's purpose and how we work it out for what I would like to say human flourishing. So that's the only thing I have. Yeah, thank you so much.
Wow, thank you, Eddryll. Before we end this conversation, no, I'd like to invite again Bam to share some of the thoughts that were also shared in FB, in Facebook, and also in the chat, no, in Zoom.
Yes, so
Bam.
thanks, Ate Gabs. No, what can I say? First, I'm just so happy to be able to celebrate this milestone with all of you. Listening to all of you inspiring and respected peace builders humble me and make me look forward to what's in store for MPI. I also learned a lot from Esther, from Manjula, Shecku, and Eddryll, and that's why allow me to read some comments from our friends here in Zoom or from our Facebook Live. We have Kao from Facebook. Who would like to thank MPI for providing the peace building and conflict transformation training that is aimed towards global peace. Also, another one from Facebook. We have from Elvira Cinco. She said that since her first experience with MPI in 2006, she kept coming back every year, not just for the new information, but also for the fun brought by the workshops, cultural nights, and other presentations. And if I may share a brief personal story, back in 2018 when I volunteered for MPI also, I, together with other volunteers and staff of MPI, had an intermission number. So we sang during one of the closing programs of the training. I felt like it was a fulfillment of my dream to somehow be able to sing in front of international crowd, international audience. So I feel like I'm an international artist there performing on, for me, that's amazing because I was able to do that despite not being a singer, to be honest. So in MPI, they also make impossible dreams possible. I can attest to that. Thank you, MPI,
Yes.
for that. Yeah. And also, a comment from Zoom this time from Danny Kalangwa. Well, accordingly, the memorable experience for me was the fun and how creative facilitators are. After the training, I don't look at conflicts the same way. I see an opportunity to make my community better. I couldn't agree more, Danny, with what you have said. MPI is truly filled with creative peace builders, like everyone who's here in our Zoom and watching us live in Facebook right now. And also, last but not the least, a comment from Eddryll. Yeah, Eddryll. It's a comment from you. I got it because I was so it's stuck in my mind when you said that it is good to be wrong because being wrong allows us to look at what is right. So I think that's all from me. Thank you again to MPI for yet another opportunity to pay it forward and to, of course, be able to reconnect with all of you. Again, with that said, thank you. Take it away, Ate Gabs.
Thank you, as always, Bam, for that 101% energy. It's invigorating.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, Maybe would just like to invite again Dr. Richard because I promised him earlier, not that we'll open the floor for some sharing also.
I participated in the MPI training in 2011. And a few takeaways. There are a lot of takeaways, but I would like to mention a few of them very, very briefly. The first thing I would like to mention is that we were breathing peace in MPI. The whole environment was one of peace. Whatever, when I say peace, I don't mean something like silence or no excitement or no conflicts. I don't mean that. But I mean that beyond all these things, we found a way to interact with each other. We found a way to share. We found a way to empathize with each other. That kind of a thing. Yeah. So I mean that is the overarching memory that we have, and one or two things which came out of that, or which is reflected in that, is hi Shecku, how are you?
Hi, Richard. How are you? My roommate, my
Oh,
Hi, whenever we met.
it's a reunion.
Where those morning walks?
Okay. So the first memory that I would like to share is about the room that we shared.
Yes.
In 2011, I was the only Indian. When I came in and checked into the place, it was me and a person from Cambodia.
Cambodia, yeah, right.
Yeah. So we came there, and there was this room, and we thought only the two of us will be staying there. So we said, okay, we are happy. Both of us will manage with each other, and we'll be happy.
Yeah.
That very night, another person comes in, and that is Shecku.
Yes.
He comes in, okay, pulls up a cot, and there he is. And after some time, there's a person from Indonesia who comes in. And that room became a crowded room, and that was the hub of interaction with us. That was the first thing. We gelled so well. We learned about our cultures. We learned about our commitment. We learned about our challenges. And so the first memory that I would like to mention here is the community living that we've had. The second memory is during the field visit. I visited an area which was a very, very serious combat zone. I had never experienced anything like that before. And I was part of, or I was witness to negotiations between the Philippine government, the ex-cadres of MNLF, and the Philippine Army. That experience I have never had that experience, nor I've seen that anywhere else. So that is something which came out unique, and staying with in the residence of ex MNLF cadres. We always thought that they were, somebody who were bad, somebody who violent, somebody, but their anger was part of wanting to be human. That was the second thing. The third is about the training itself. Never was there a dull moment. It is so interesting. There was nothing like cutting class, which we normally do in any other training program or sessions. So 3 solid memories that I would like to leave is staying together, going visiting with the MNLF and the negotiation process between the government, the ex-MLF cadres, and the Philippine Army. The third is about the training, and the last thing is about the cultural night. I think the first week itself of the 3-week training, the cultural night was called something like spicy hot or red hot, and it was a lone Indian along with 3 Pakistanis, okay, who came together for that cultural evening, and that started a process of, apart from the cultural evening, we had a lot of fun. We had a fashion show and laughing and people coming together and dancing and all that. But understanding with people from the other side of the border, something with whom we always had our biases, coming together and celebrating life, celebrating peace. That is the spirit with which I think MPI has traveled 20 years. And I'm sure that MPI is strong enough to travel several more years. Thank you, Shecku, thank you, Christine, Malis, and everybody. Okay, I still remember the times that we had Shecku. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Well said.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I know we're pressed with time, no, but allow me to share a bit of what I also think about MPI, because it really brings so much memories to me, and it's really close to my heart, because this is really where I first learned peace building, no, and learned that it's something that I want to do until maybe my last breath. So for me, MPI, this sharing has really reminded me how this space, this community is this place where a lot of transformations happen. A lot of relationships are built. A lot of challenging assumptions, stereotypes, prejudices, and a lot of diversity of the people working together, learning together, and growing together. And maybe just a thought from me to add to this discussion is that maybe because we've been trained by MPI, or we've engaged MPI in so many ways and so many roles, I feel there is also some accountability among us, no? A responsibility that we also need to imbibe the same values wherever we are. So it's somehow like we're MPI wherever we are. We're also this creative space, transforming space, um, reconciling space. So that to me is also a very big task. But again, it's a task that we all carry. And to me, that's just the beauty of what this community really is. So I think that ends this roundtable. I think we went past the 30 minutes. But it's so difficult to cut short the sharing, no? The stories, it's so beautiful and profound.